What if I told you the secret to a slug-free garden was something you could literally ferment at home? It sounds wild, I know, but this simple, eco-friendly method is about to revolutionize how you protect your plants. After years of battling these slimy garden invaders, and watching them decimate my tender seedlings overnight, I discovered a fermentation technique that creates a powerful natural deterrent slugs absolutely cannot tolerate. This isn't just another marginal improvement over beer traps or crushed eggshells. This is a game-changing solution that works consistently, costs pennies to make, and actually improves your garden ecosystem rather than harming it. Walking into your garden on a dewy morning only to find your prized lettuce shredded, your hostas reduced to lace, and those beautiful young bean plants stripped to nubs creates a frustration every gardener knows intimately. Slugs work under cover of darkness and moisture, leaving behind only their silvery slime trails as evidence of their nocturnal feast. A single slug can consume up to 40% of its body weight in a single night, and since most gardens harbor dozens or even hundreds of these mollusks, the cumulative damage becomes devastating quickly. They target the most tender, nutritious plant parts, new growth, seedlings, and ripening fruits, making them particularly destructive to vegetables and ornamentals alike. Traditional control methods leave much to be desired, and most gardeners cycle through them with diminishing hope. Salt kills slugs on contact, but also destroys soil structure and harms plant roots in the process. Commercial slug pellets containing metaldehyde or iron phosphate work, but pose risks to pets, wildlife, and beneficial insects while requiring constant reapplication after every rain. Beer traps attract some slugs, but also draw them from neighboring areas, potentially worsening your problem while creating a maintenance headache of emptying and refilling containers. Copper barriers work temporarily but prove expensive for larger gardens and lose effectiveness as slugs learn to bridge them with slime. Handpicking works if you enjoy nocturnal garden patrols with a flashlight, but most of us lack the dedication for nightly slug hunting sessions. The solution that transformed my slug battles involves fermenting garlic and hot peppers to create a potent biological deterrent that slugs find absolutely intolerable. This fermentation process produces complex compounds including allicin from garlic, capsaicin from peppers, and various organic acids and enzymes created by beneficial bacteria during fermentation. These compounds work synergistically to create a barrier that disrupts slugs' chemoreceptors, the sensory organs they use to locate food. When slugs encounter areas treated with this fermented solution, their feeding response shuts down completely and they actively avoid the treated zones, protecting your plants without killing the slugs or harming anything else in your garden ecosystem. Creating this powerful slug deterrent requires only 5 common ingredients that, honestly, most gardeners already have on hand or can get pretty inexpensively. You'll need 1 full head of garlic, broken into cloves, along with 3 to 5 hot peppers of any variety. The hotter, the better, since higher heat levels give you stronger results. Next, add 2 tablespoons of unrefined sea salt or Himalayan salt, which actually helps support the good fermentation bacteria. Then, toss in 1 tablespoon of molasses or raw honey to feed the fermentation process, and finally, 1 quart of non-chlorinated water. The whole thing costs under $5 and gives you enough concentrated solution to treat a medium-sized garden several times over. What's really great is that this method isn't just effective, it's completely safe. There's nothing synthetic, nothing toxic to mammals or helpful insects, and as it breaks down, it actually adds beneficial compounds to your soil. To start, roughly chop your garlic cloves and hot peppers, leaving the seeds in since they pack a lot of capsaicin. Place these chopped ingredients into a clean glass jar. Avoid using metal containers since they can react with the acids made during fermentation. Add your salt and molasses. Then, pour in the non-chlorinated water, leaving about 2 inches of headspace at the top. If you're using city water, let it sit uncovered for about 24 hours first to let the chlorine evaporate. Chlorine can really mess with the beneficial bacteria you need for proper fermentation. Give the mixture a good stir to dissolve the salt and molasses, making sure everything's evenly mixed. Cover your jar with a breathable cloth and secure it with a rubber band rather than a tight lid, because fermentation produces carbon dioxide that needs to escape. Place the jar somewhere with stable temperatures between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit and keep it away from direct sunlight. Over the next 7 to 10 days, stir the mixture once a day and keep an eye on the changes. Within about 48 hours, you'll notice small bubbles forming as fermentation kicks off. The liquid will turn cloudy and develop a strong, pungent aroma, a mix of garlic, pepper, and that unmistakable fermented tang. This smell, while pretty powerful, is actually a good sign that fermentation is working, and those important compounds are developing to make this solution so effective against slugs. The fermentation transforms raw ingredients into something far more powerful through bacterial action. Beneficial microorganisms break down cell walls in the garlic and peppers, releasing and concentrating their active compounds while creating new organic acids including lactic acid and acetic acid. These acids lower the pH of your solution, making it even more irritating to slugs' sensitive mucous membranes. The fermentation also produces enzymes that help the solution adhere to plant surfaces and soil, extending its effectiveness between applications. After 7 to 10 days, when bubbling activity slows significantly and the liquid takes on a darker, more uniform color, your fermentation is complete and ready for use. Strategic application is, honestly, the key for maximum protection. Strain your fermented solution through cheesecloth or a fine mesh strainer, pressing the solids to extract all liquid. The concentrated ferment needs dilution before application. Mix 1 part fermented solution with 10 parts water for general garden use, or use a stronger 5-to-1 dilution for severe infestations. Pour the diluted solution into a spray bottle for foliage application, or a watering can for soil drenching around plant bases. The reserved solid material from straining shouldn't go to waste. Bury it near particularly slug-prone plants as an additional deterrent that releases compounds gradually as it decomposes. Application timing and technique significantly impact effectiveness. Apply your solution in early evening, about an hour before slugs typically emerge for their nightly feeding. This timing ensures the solution dries onto plant surfaces and soil before slug activity peaks, creating an invisible but powerful barrier. Spray both the upper and lower surfaces of leaves, as slugs often approach from below, and thoroughly soak the soil in a 6-inch radius around each plant's base. Pay special attention to the transition zone where stems meet soil, as this is where slugs typically begin their ascent onto plants. So, reapplication frequency really depends on your local weather and how severe your slug problem is. In dry conditions, just 1 application often gives you protection for about 2 to 3 weeks, but when it rains, that solution gets diluted and washed away. So you'll want to reapply within 24 hours after any significant rainfall or heavy watering. Now, during the peak slug seasons in spring and fall, when it's pretty damp out there, you should plan on applying the solution about once a week to keep things under control. Oh, and for container gardens or raised beds, where you can manage drainage and set up barriers, this solution works even better, since you're basically creating a protected zone that slugs have to cross to get to your plants. The transformation in slug-damaged gardens after implementing this fermented solution often surprises even skeptical gardeners. Within 1 week of consistent application, you'll notice dramatically reduced slug damage with new growth emerging unmarred by feeding holes. Within 2 weeks, plants previously stressed by constant slug predation begin recovering vigor, producing fuller foliage and stronger stems. By 1 month, the difference becomes striking. Hostas develop complete leaves instead of tattered remnants. Lettuces grow to full size without disappearing overnight, and those vulnerable young transplants actually survive to maturity. Beyond immediate slug control, this fermented solution contributes unexpected benefits to your overall garden health. The organic acids and beneficial compounds in the diluted spray actually feed soil microorganisms when they wash into the earth, contributing to the living soil ecosystem. The garlic compounds possess mild antifungal properties that can help suppress foliar diseases like powdery mildew and early blight. Some gardeners report reduced aphid and soft-bodied insect pressure in treated areas, likely due to the pungent compounds that make plants less appealing to various pests while remaining completely safe for beneficial predators like ladybugs, lacewings, and ground beetles. This method represents more than just slug control. It embodies a philosophy of working with natural processes to solve garden problems. Rather than killing slugs outright and disrupting food chains, you're simply encouraging them to dine elsewhere while strengthening your plants and soil. The slugs survive to fulfill their ecological roles of decomposing organic matter in wilder areas of your property, while your cultivated garden remains protected. This balanced approach creates resilience rather than dependence, teaching you to harness fermentation and biological compounds rather than reaching for synthetic chemicals whenever problems arise. Ready to reclaim your garden from slug devastation? Try this fermented solution and experience the difference that working with nature rather than against it can make. I'd love to hear about your results, so drop a comment below sharing how this method worked in your garden and any observations you made along the way. If you found this guide valuable, please subscribe to the Living Soil Lab for more innovative natural gardening solutions that protect your plants while nurturing the entire garden ecosystem. Share this video with fellow gardeners who are tired of watching slugs destroy their hard work. Together, we're building a community of growers who understand that the most effective solutions often come from the simplest, most natural processes.